Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with Victory 4x4. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to install our off-grid modular cargo floor in the back of our 2011 GX460. Now starting off here in the rear of the vehicle, we're going to do a little bit of disassembly work to get these third row seats removed, and then we can get our floor assembled and installed. First step is going to be removing these tie down hooks here in the back corners. There's going to be one on each side of the vehicle. So for that you can simply flip it up, and then you'll need a pick or a flat blade screwdriver to get underneath the plastic cover here and pop it up and out of the way. After that you'll need a 10mm socket to remove the single center bolt holding this in place. And that whole assembly with the bolt in here can simply be pulled out and removed. With the hooks out of the way, you can use those hook locations as an access point, and then you're just going to pull up. That should release the clips holding this panel in place, and the whole thing can be removed and set to the side. Then we can grab our 10mm socket again and remove the 3 screws here holding the top edge of this rear trim panel in place. Then you can grab a hold of the panel, either kind of starting under this front edge using one of these tabs or over here on the ends, and you'll simply need to pull kind of straight up vertically to release the clips holding this in, and it can be removed as well. Next we'll remove the outer trim panels on each side. For that, they're just again held in with clips, so you can kind of grab hold of the tie down strap here and lift vertically to start releasing those. You're gonna have to get the front to pop free as well, and then these can kind of just lift straight up, get them off of the seat belt there, and toss these away as well. Then grab your 10mm again and remove the 2 screws here in the center holding this metal mounting plate in. And now this entire plate should be free to lift out of the vehicle. Next you'll have one of these brackets on each side that need to be removed. That's just going to be 2 more 10mm head fasteners. They're basically straight down here, so pretty hard to see on camera, but still fairly easy to access with your hand and your tools. And then with those out of the way, you should be able to kind of slide this back tab out and lift the whole thing out of the vehicle. Now you can switch to a 14mm socket, and we went ahead and folded these third row seats up to access the hardware here that are holding those in place. So there's going to be 4 of these across the back of these 2 seats. So now we folded the second row seats down to access this front edge here of the third row. You can grab your flat screwdriver again, and you're just going to need to pop all 4 of the covers loose here across the front of these. Then 14mm socket, just like the rear mounting hardware, and get all 4 bolts removed. So then I went ahead and folded the seats back down flat, mostly just because I think they're easier to handle that way, but you can leave them up and move them around that way. It's entirely up to you. After that, you can lastly disconnect the wire harness connection here on each seat. That should just be kind of a standard connection with a little press tab, and then pull it straight out. And then the seats can be lifted up and removed from the vehicle. Now there are some overlapping trim panels underneath here, so you might want to start with the driver's side seat, and then it's just a matter of kind of getting it lifted up and off its front alignment pins. And then you can get it kind of up on its side and get it out of here. Now as for the seat wiring connections, we kind of just tape that up for a little bit of added protection there to keep any dirt or debris out, and then we're just going to tuck them back inside of the trim panel here and get them out of the way. And then you'll see here on this rear trim panel that I've marked it out with a gold Sharpie, and basically what we're going to be doing is cutting just to this side of that Sharpie mark to remove this structure here. Now there's a lot of different tools you can use for that, but I've just got a razor knife with a new blade. That should work just fine to get this stuff removed. You could also use a cutoff wheel or even an air saw if you have those available to you. Now this isn't going to be specifically measured out in any way, but you can kind of stick your side trim panels in here loosely as a reference. You can see where the interference is here with the taper on the back edge of our trim. That's why this is being removed. And then you're basically just going kind of an 1/8 inch or basically this marker width inside of the actual textured edge of this to get this kind of inner hidden structure removed. And then no matter which tool you're using down here, just be sure to use caution because you have a wire harness running through here as well as the door seal back here, which if you're more comfortable with it that way, this can always be kind of pulled free and out of the way while you're making this cut. So now you can see kind of what this should look like once you get that trimmed out, as well as the entirety of the piece that you'll be removing. Now for anybody wondering, just removing these from each side will not prevent you from fully reinstalling all your factory components and getting this back to stock, as this was just kind of a locator for that rear trim panel and not something that it actually fastened into. Next, you can grab your trim panel mounting brackets. These are going to have pre-installed nuts here on the back side, so no hardware to worry about there. And then you'll need one of the factory M6 fasteners that we removed earlier. We'll go ahead and slide that in here and get the bolt started. Now as for placement of these, you just want to pull kind of straight out toward the center of the cargo area, and then with your 10 mil socket you can snug these up. Then after that you can grab the outer trim panel and just kind of loosely place it in here one time and check your hole alignment and make any minor adjustments to that bracket as needed. Now before these outer trim panels go in, we are going to have you install a little bit of adhesive edge trim along the edge here where it makes contact with the factory plastic trim panels. So you'll start this right down here at kind of the end of this radius and then just work your way up until you run out of trim along this edge. For that, you kind of just have to get the edge of this spread open. You can usually get in there with your fingernail or a flat screwdriver if needed. And then it's just a matter of holding it down here and pressing it on along this edge. So what you're left with should look something like this, and now these panels can be installed. Now as you slide these in, you want to make sure you get that front cutout around the seat belt, and then it's just a matter of kind of getting it pressed back here into place and lining up the holes with the bracket you just installed behind there. Then once you have this lined up, you'll need to find 2 of the 1/4-20 button heads along with washers in your bolt pack, and then just go ahead and get both of these started before you tighten anything up. Now we can move on to assembling the floor frame. I'm going to start out with kind of the main rear cross member section here, and right now just one of my kind of front to rear support rails. You're going to mount these to the back side of this cross member using the 3 hole patterns along here. So 3 patterns, you're going to have 3 of these rails. You're going to have the same 3 holes in kind of this rear edge of those front to rear rails. Obviously you're just going to have to line those up. Again, this being the center rail that you see here. So I went ahead and flipped both of these over just kind of for visibility here as well as ease of hardware access. And this is just going to be another 1/4-20 button head, washer, and then you're backing those up now with a serrated flange nut in each of these 3 mounting holes. So then again, with these still upside down, you can kind of just push both of them down flat so you know that the mounting faces are going to wind up parallel, and then take a 5/32 hex and tighten each of these up. If you have any issues with the nuts spinning here, it's just going to be a 7/16 wrench on that back side. Now following those same steps, you can install the 2 outer rails. These are going to be easily distinguishable from the center rail by the multiple horizontal cutouts you see here along with the single hole pattern here at the front edge versus the 2-hole pattern in the center rail. So once assembled, your frame should look just like this, and now we can take this and move back into the vehicle. Now when you're sliding this into the vehicle, you can start by just dropping one end, in my case the passenger side, all the way down in, and then as you slip this down into place, you just want to kind of pay careful attention to the relationship between this rear cross member and the outer trim panel. And if you notice any dragging along here between the two or any kind of extreme pressure, you'll have to kind of take a step back, take these back out, loosen that bracket and slide it out just a tiny bit. That's the adjustments we were talking about there earlier, and then you can bring this back in. So then moving a little bit further into the vehicle here, you're gonna have to do just a little bit of clearance work so that these rails can sit all the way down flat and tight to the sheet metal in the cargo area of the vehicle. So now you can see they've got kind of this factory sound deadener or glue of some sort here. That's what you're going to need to trim out just a little bit, specifically to clearance for this tab here. We've already done that on this one. What you're going to be looking for afterwards is kind of a rectangle cutout like this. Now we don't have a specific measurement for this because the placement of this glue kind of varies just a little bit front to rear and side to side. The best thing to do is place your floor down in here, line up the front mounting holes as well as the side mounting bolt holes out here for these rails, and then simply take a marker and trace along the outside edge of this. Maybe give yourself an 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch wiggle room either way outside of there. And then we'll grab a putty knife or a gasket scraper of some sort along with a heat source to get this removed. Now again, we already did it, so I'm not going to be able to specifically show it to you here, but a little bit of heat on this, whether it be a nice high temp heat gun or even a torch if you're using it carefully, is going to soften this up really well and allow it to scrape out of here pretty easily. If you try to do it while this is totally dry and everything, this is just really brittle and you're going to wind up kind of breaking and peeling large chunks of it out and not really getting it off of that sheet metal. So then once you've done that and you've got your frame sitting nice and flat in here, you can grab 4 of the factory seat mounting bolts and get them started across the back of the frame through here. Now moving up to the front edge of our frame, or just behind the back seats again, you'll be installing this front cross section. Now it's really going to only install in here one way, but just kind of as a reference, you'll have the larger mounting holes bolting in down here in the same location as the front of the frame, and then you want to make sure that your pre-installed nuts are down on the bottom side of this front flange. Now once you have those roughly lined up, grab the remaining 4 factory seat mounting bolts and install them into the original seat mounting holes. Now as for placement of the 2 overlapping sections here, you want to just kind of make sure that you get these pushed to where these diagonal flanges or edges are nice and flush or parallel with one another, and then you can start snugging this in place. And then moving to the 2 outer rails here, you want to also align these again so that the edges are nice and flush, and then you can tighten these as well. Now we can move on to installing the floor panels. How you proceed here is going to vary a little bit depending on your specific scenario and accessories you plan to install and whether or not you have those accessories at this time. So with your floor system, we're going to provide you with 8 of these nut strips, 4 per panel, that align with the 4 sets of slots here. Now those nut strips are going to be the hold down mounting hardware for the off-grid drawer system to mount to each individual floor panel. So if you have those and you have them assembled, this is going to be the best time to get all of that in place. Basically the way these work, you'll simply line it up with the back of the slot here, and then it's just another one of those 1/4 bolts with a washer in the center to hold those in place. And then kind of where you place this from side to side in the slot is entirely up to you and your positioning of the drawers within your vehicle. Now the only thing that's going to differ or vary from these is if you're going to be installing our fridge slide, in which case you'll get a smaller set of nut tabs along with those that'll bolt in and align with the smaller outside holes as well as the outside slots here, and you can install those along with the fridge slide. And then one more thing to point out on these floor panels, specifically in relation to how they get installed in the vehicle or what's the front and back edge. So the front edge, or what will be furthest into the vehicle, is going to have much less space here between the upper mounting slots and the edge of the panel. It's also going to have 460 cut in right here, identifying it's for your vehicle, versus this rear, larger, kind of wider space between the slot and the edge of the panel. Now, one small tip that's going to help you just with bolt hole alignment when you're getting these nut tabs installed is to just go ahead in the 2 outer holes on each side, or even just one should work really well because it's not going to allow this other end to move very much. Just loosely install it in the outside hole. Again, it's kind of up to you, making sure you got your placement right from side to side for your given accessories. And then when you tighten down that center bolt, you can easily remove this. And now both of these outer nuts are perfectly aligned with the slots. So after you've figured out your nut tab placement and accessory layout, you can get both panels loosely placed here in the back of the vehicle, and then kind of press outward on both of them. There's going to be just a little bit of pressure on these panels. That's kind of by design. And then you can just simply line them up front to rear with the pre-installed nuts in the frame. After that, find more of the 1/4-20 button heads, again with washers, and get them all started in the perimeter mounting holes for these floor panels. So after all your 1/4-20 button heads are started, you can work your way around with a 5/32 hex and tighten things up. So once you've done that, your actual cargo floor installation is complete. Now, if you need more information about the individual products, such as the drawers and the fridge slides, and getting those installed, go check out their specific product pages for more detailed information there. And then if you have any more questions about this product, this install, or anything else we offer here at Victory 4x4, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always send us an email at info@victory4x4.com or give us a call at 269-459-8447.